Alright guys, Evo coins are here, and so now we're going to talk about whether you should buy MARASAI with them. I want you guys to have a good idea of what the character is like before you buy it, so you don't feel like you wasted your money. So, how powerful is MARASAI? It's honestly not very good. And I say that as a player who has experience with these sort of hook type characters, and because I played Roadhog for a little while, and I sold up to 4,400 in Overwatch doing that, so I do know like a pretty decent amount about it, and I can get good value. Although I was kind of still figuring out the projectile speed in this clip, but during the network test I was popping off on it. So regardless, it doesn't do that much. It doesn't really have that high of a capability. And the reasons are it has low primary fire damage that has a pretty like quick fire, or pretty quick fall off. It looks like it has a sniper rifle, but it doesn't travel very far and do a lot of damage. I mean, obviously it travels as far as it can possibly, but it doesn't do a lot of damage at long range. The hook ability is buffed, but basically what you're looking at regardless is just you're hitting a projectile skill shot to get a kill, right? And other characters do that regardless of just clicking on something's head. So basically like Jim Sniper can just click on something's head, which is easier because it's a hit scan from range and not have to make itself vulnerable and just kill something. So it can do what MARASAI gets to do, but without it being on a cooldown and just all the time. Its beam blade is solid, but it's just a part of its hook. Like, yeah, you can use it to push into like a Sosby that's low or break through a shield, which is fun. And there's some really cool techs. Like, it doesn't have any other abilities, but its techs are so fun if you get them done properly. I didn't really have to do any of them in the clip because I wasn't getting like the things that I was hooking were dying because they were getting pulled in pretty quickly. But things that you hit, you can dash and they'll pull them in farther. And you can pull them to the side, you can pull them to like the right, left, up or down to manipulate where they are. So there's lots of really cool things that you can do. However, I do have to say there was also some wonkiness, as you can see in some of the clips. Like I'd hook something and then it would just like pull it barely around a corner and then whip it around, so I couldn't get a good shot in it right when it landed. It was really weird. But basically, yeah, the ultimate's really good. So that's one advantage. It's like an area of effect stun that's really fun to use and does a good amount of potential for killing. But then again, it's also kind of hard to secure some of those kills because you don't do that much damage. Like if you hit three people with them, you're probably only get like one, maybe two kills. It also has a high, like a large hitbox for only having 1200 HP, so only 20% more than like Pale Rider, that kind of size thing. And so basically what happens is like you just end up taking a bunch of spam damage. And so you're having like an issue of trying to play kind of like a mid-range, not a sniper, but a mid-range character that has to deal damage like with a hook by like. Basically, there's just a similarity in your positioning with something like Pale Rider or something like Gym Sniper when you're playing like mid-range Gym Sniper or like Turning Gundam Evolution or something like that. But your hitbox is so much bigger until you just randomly take damage. You just die times when you wouldn't on other characters. So, yeah, it's really not that amazing. Is it hard to play? And that's the other thing I want to get at. It's definitely hit or miss. It requires a lot of aim. It requires like a standard aim for hit scan, but also requires a projectile aim. So yeah, like it has decent HP, but it gets outranged, so the HP doesn't really help you, and like what I said about the hitbox issues. So basically it requires you to have more skill to get good value out of it than you would on something else. Like it's supposed to be kind of like a little tanky guy, and it is kind of, but it ends up really just being like a not too good damage character. Yeah, with a high skill requirement, because if you miss those hooks, you're just getting like limited value, right? So, will it get buffed? Definitely. It should be getting adjustments, ideally to make it more tanky, but more damage probably. I will have a video coming out about this, talking about what I want them to do. They did buff the hook, like, fire rate, the speed of it, and then the pull-in speed also, but regardless of that, it needs changes. I want it to become more tanky, like maybe just more HP, or a buff, like a damage resistance when you hit a hook kind of a thing. But it's either going to get something like that to be a little bit more tanky, or they're probably going to buff the fire damage of its primary fire. That's the most likely kind of thing I'd see. So it will be getting buffed though, because it definitely won't be seeing a lot of playtime. Alright, so is it worth the $10, the 990 Evo coins? If you are like a hook player and you love playing Roadhog and Overwatch or hooks and other type of games, then obviously you know the answer, just buy it, right? But otherwise, you're not going to enjoy playing it too much. Like, it was fun, don't get me wrong, but you're just gonna find yourself sitting there going like, oh, I spent $10 for a character that's like subpar, you know. So if you're, like I say, if you have a bunch of money sitting around and you just want to spend it on something, then like, you know, go ahead and spend it, right? But if you don't and you're trying to make an informed decision about what you want to do, I would suggest waiting. Especially if you're a free-to-play player and you only have like 1 or 2 mobile suits you can choose from, I really wouldn't choose MARASAI. And I say that as someone who includes it in the characters that I want to have as my hero pool, my mobile suit pool anyway. When it gets changed in the future, then you can look back at it and go, hey, this character's pretty solid now, worth playing, time for me to give it a shot. If you're looking for some more Gundam Evolution videos, then make sure to check out my mobile suit guides. I made one for all original to 14 mobile suits, and I did a Should You Main guide series also, covering the same mobile suits and talking about whether you should actually main them in Gundam Evolution or not.